Hello, it is time for my November wrap-up. I'm just bringing up my reads on my phone so I don't forget anything. I think I read quite a lot of books in November. And just to let you know, I am not going to be doing a December TBR because my December TBR is basically my Goodreads reading challenge. So I'll be telling you the books that I'm reading in that vlog thing. So I'm not going to tell you before that because I'm mean. Yes, I read 17 books in November, so quite a lot of books. So let us talk about them. I don't have copies of everything, so I'm just going to talk. The first book that I read was The Vanishing Stair, which was book 2 in the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. I enjoyed this one. I don't know if I liked it as much as book 1, but I thought it was a good continuation of the story. And then I straight away after that read The Hand on the Wall, which is book 3, and I liked the conclusion to the story. I thought that it was satisfying. I didn't find any of the big reveals particularly surprising, but I still enjoyed myself. Oh, and just by way of reminder, the theme that I was reading on for November was sequels, so this is going to be a lot of sequels. Then I read Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas, which is book 3 in the Throne of Glass series. I have been meaning to carry on with this series for so long. I think I started it last year, beginning of last year. So yeah, I'm glad I continued on. This does open the world out a lot more. To be honest, I didn't really care too much about what was happening with Kale. So every time we were in his perspective, I was like, yeah, okay, come on, I want to get back to Selena. And who else? What is his name? The prince. His name is going to completely disappear. Dorian. I wasn't too bothered about what was happening with Dorian either. So really I just wanted to be with Selena, which was good because I didn't really feel particularly attached to her in the previous books, and in this book I was much more invested in what was happening to her, so that's good. Then I read Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, which is book 2 in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I really liked this one. I really liked book 1 and I really liked book 2, but I could not tell you which one I liked more. This one was really great though. I really enjoyed these books, and I did also then go ahead and finish off the trilogy by reading As Good as Dead, and that one was a complicated one for me because I don't think I can tell you why without spoiling, but I think about that book a lot. So I did enjoy it, but I have complicated feelings about it, and that's all I'll say. Then I went off theme and I read Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This is his newest release and I liked it. It is very different in tone to The House in the Cerulean Sea. That one is very sort of hopeful. It has this hopeful feeling throughout it. This one has a very melancholy feeling throughout it. So it's not like super sad, but it's melancholy and I enjoyed it. It felt also really reminiscent of A Christmas Carol. The protagonist in this, whose name I can never remember, Wallace, is a very Scrooge-like character. So I think actually this is a pretty good time of year to read this one because it has that Christmas Carol vibe to it. So I really enjoyed it though. Then I read All of Us Villains by Christine Lynn Herman and Amanda Foody, which was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I was really disappointed. So this one markets itself as being the next Hunger Games, which is never a good idea because you always put this sort of expectation in people's heads and it just, you can't, I don't think it's possible to live up to that. I think that the Hunger Games was just such a thing that to try and compare yourself to that, you're just setting yourself up to fail. So yeah, it wasn't brutal enough to stand up to that comparison. It's meant to be like a mashup of Hunger Games and something else, but I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't stand up to the brutality of the Hunger Games, and I could potentially have got past that if it weren't for the fact that it just ends, like virtually in the middle of a scene, it just ends. Massive cliffhanger. You can't even call it a cliffhanger, because it's literally just in the middle of a scene. It just stops. So that was annoying to me, and I would suggest that if you're interested in this one and you haven't read it yet, hold off until the sequel comes out, because otherwise it just doesn't really feel like much of a point in reading it. And I don't know that I'll read the sequel because it annoyed me, but I also do kind of want to know what's going to happen, so I feel very conflicted about that one, which is a real shame because I was really looking forward to it. And then I read Take a Hint, Dani Brown, which I liked much better than Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I thought that Dani Brown was a much more fun romance, and I don't know, I feel like the characters just... I really liked Chloe Brown and Red, but... and I possibly liked those characters better than Dani Brown and Sophia, but I don't know, I just liked the storyline better, I think. I think it's because it was like the fake dating thing. I love the fake dating trope, I really do. Anyway, then I read The Girl Who Could Not Dream by Sarah Beth Durst. If you didn't already know and you didn't already check it out, Jessie from The Bookish Mum and I were super lucky to be able to interview Sarah Beth Durst, and the interview is on my channel and on Jessie's channel, so part 1 here, part 2 there. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I always want to read more Sarah Beth Durst, and I haven't read any of her middle grade yet, so I decided to pick this one up, and I loved it. It was amazing. Everyone should read it. That's all I'll say. Fantastic. Then I reread Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. Loved that. Not going to say anything else. Then I read Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade because I knew that I was getting All the Feels by Olivia Dade in the November Illumicrate Afterlight box, maybe? Anyway, I knew I was getting that book, so I wanted to read the first book. It's not a series, but they're companions, and there are characters in that book that appear first in this book. So I read Spoiler Alert. I liked it. It was fine. Did I love it? No. Am I sad that I read it? No. Then I read Sunreach and Redawn, which are the novellas in the Cytoverse, which is... well, they take place between Starsight and Cytonic. So there is going to be a third novella called Eversure, but that one doesn't come out until after, so I'm guessing it takes place after the events of Cytonic. I actually really enjoyed these novellas. We follow different characters, so we follow, in Redawn we follow Arlenique, and in Sunreach we follow FM, and I really enjoyed them. I thought they were really well put together. They are not really novellas like together, they are a novel. They're quite long, but I really enjoyed myself. I'm really glad that I read them. I highly recommend reading them. If you're on the fence about it, do it. They're worth reading. And then of course I read Cytonic. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It was a little bit of a like quest travelling trope type story, which really is not my thing, but of course because it's Brandon Sanderson I loved it anyway, and I thought that a lot of the world building, universe building, whatever, was great. Loved being with the characters. Just really enjoyed myself. Then I read another middle grade by Sarah Beth Durst. That one was Spark. I didn't love it as much as I loved The Girl Who Could Not Dream. So if you're trying to pick one, I would go with The Girl Who Could Not Dream. But I really enjoyed Spark as well. It's about a girl and her dragon, like what's not to love, and he's like a really cute dragon, like, you know, it was really, really cute, and it's, you know, there's weather magic, and it was a fun time. Who doesn't love an animal companion? Then I read Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper, and I was a little bit disappointed by this one as well. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it particularly. It just didn't really grab my attention because it was supposed to have a competition trope, and it did have a competition in it, but our protagonist wasn't a competitor. She was like the judge, which is just not what I want from a competition story. And there was a romance, but it wasn't really enough of a focus for this to really be a romance story, and there wasn't quite enough magic for it to be a fantasy story, and it didn't really feel like a contemporary either, so I wouldn't know where to categorise this book, and I just didn't love it, unfortunately. And this one I'm really, really sad and bummed about. I read Redempter, which is the second book following, oh my gosh, my brain has just gone completely blank. Raybearer, my goodness, which I loved. I loved Raybearer. I thought it was fantastic. And this was fine, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it anywhere near as much as I enjoyed Raybearer, and I was a little bit bored for basically the whole book. I mean the nail is hit on the head by the acknowledgements where Georgia Ifweko talks about the fact that she spent 12 years working on Raybearer, and then she had 9 months to write this book and get it edited and get it ready to go out. And it reads that way. It really, really does. Like, Raybearer was fantastic and this was just okay, which was really sad because I just wanted more. I'm not going to not read Jordan Ifweko's future works because I think that she'll get better. This read more like her debut than Raybearer did, because she'd spent so long on that book and then she wrote this on such a tight deadline that it just didn't do her abilities as an author justice, I don't think. But hopefully she'll get used to having those tight turnaround times and she'll get better. So I'll probably read future books from her. But this one was a little bit of a letdown for me, which was very sad. So it was a very mixed bag in November. There were some books that I really enjoyed and some that I felt really meh about. So, oh, also I should say that I DNF'd a book. I DNF'd A Conspiracy of Kings by Megan Wallen-Turner, which makes me so sad because The Thief I absolutely loved, and then I felt kind of lukewarm about, well, I liked book 2. I didn't like it as much as The Thief, but I still liked it. And then book 3 I felt kind of lukewarm about, and then this one I was just bored. I got really close to the end too and I just couldn't force myself to finish it. I was just bored. So that's really, really sad because it means that I'm probably, well, if I've DNF'd this book, it means I've DNF'd the series, which it just makes me really sad because I really liked that first book and the second book was really good too. So yeah, gutted. But, you know, at least it's a series off my list. We're into December now. I am going to hopefully be reading some festive things, some reading challenge things. It should be a good time, but that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks!